God morgon och välkommen till Antalis digitala kanal om Coala Interior Film webbinariet. Tack för att ni har kommit hit och deltar. Jag heter Lars Wiklund, jobbar på Antalis, baserad i Stockholm, är produktchef i Skandinavien för dessa typer av inredningsfolier. Idag kommer vi att tala om en ny generation självhäftande interiörfilm som kan erbjuda en jättebra lösning för renovering och förnyelse av en mängd designprojekt inomhus. Det kan vara offentliga byggnader, skolor, sjukhus, kontor, konferensrum, korridorer i kontorerna, restauranger, hotell inte minst, och även butiker samt passagerarfartyg. Vi kan inte träffas face to face som det är just nu. Så vi har istället organiserat en digital demo för att visa hur det går till att installera en vägg, en dörr eller ett bord. Och för att göra denna demo kommer vi snart ta oss till demorummet där Mikael och Stefano väntar. Och de kommer att tala engelska. Så allt här idag är live och alla ni deltagare har fått era mikrofoner mutade. Den här installationsdemon kommer ta ungefär 50 minuter, 55 kanske. Och på slutet kommer vi ha en Q&A session. Så skriv bara ner era frågor på knappen nederst i mitten på skärmen. Så kommer det att besvaras antingen under tiden eller i slutet på demonstrationen. Så då säger vi egentligen Michael and Stefano, take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael, and I'm today representing Coala Interior Film by Antalis. I didn't understand what Lars was saying, but I assume you all understand that we are going to be there for 60 minutes roundabout. We're going to speak about this marvelous product. Stefano is going to help me out on the practical side, and I'm going to give you tips and tricks regarding this great product. Let's start straight with all what regards marketing. So our Coala Interior Film is a beautiful binder, which is the version 2021. Inside this binder, what is important to know is that you have two main colors, the one that are in stock, which are the green collection, and the one that are not in stock, available between 1 and 4 weeks, which is the red collection. To give you numbers, 200 green reference are in stock, it's a commitment from Antalis, and 271 reference are available within 4 weeks. So it's a great advantage. And if you have not yet seen this binder, please refer to your contact. It's a beautiful marketing material. And then you have the premium swatch, which is basically the highlight of those 200 green references. You have the little sticker there, which is the collection 2021. You have a range of samples. Antalis provides you a free sampling service in A5 size. Often clients want to see the product before committing to an actual installation. This is why the sampling service is there. There's also a training session which is organized in Luxembourg if you guys are interested, because here it's a short webinar where we give you the tips and tricks for the basics. But if you really want to know how to install this great product, a 2 days training is definitely mandatory. If you have any questions during this session, please use the Q&A, and we will go now straight to Stefano, who is going to introduce us a little bit tools and primers to use. So I'm going to go straight away with him.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome to Coala Interior Film webinar. So let me spend some word how to prepare the surface. So we go and we check if we have some hole to repair, and we use some filler to fill it. We brush and we do the definition. And
it's indeed really important what Stefano is saying, because you can have the best product in the world, the installation is key. And preparation is a big part of the installation. So sometimes you might have to use some cleaner, sometimes you might have to use some alcohol, sometimes you might have to use some primer. But again, here we give you a short introduction of the tools that you might require to do a great installation.
So after the preparation, we use a microfiber cloth to remove and degrease completely the surface. And we have one of the best products in the market to cleaning. Two type of primer for two different type of surface. So hard surface, hard bottle, absorbing surface soft bottle, and it's water-based primer, solvent-based primer.
And this primer, the solvent base that goes on hard surface like laminated, aluminium, etc., is also available in a 250 centiliter bottle, and there is indeed the brush inside that makes it easy to apply. I think it's not going to be a big issue nowadays. Wearing a mask is mandatory because it really smells. It really works. And I think, if I'm not wrong, you install the Primer Plus, let it dry for about
15 minutes.
15 minutes, and you can touch basically with your finger.
Absolutely.
It needs to be a little bit sticky.
No, when they don't stick, it's perfect.
Okay, then it
and we can install. Okay. Obviously, professional ruler, professional cutter. We use two different type of cutter for different type of cut definition or to brush on the side the film. Different kind of squeegee to install our different product. For example, the glitter, it's not possible to install with the normal squeegee, so we have a roll to install the glitter.
Having the right tool obviously is really important.
Absolutely. And different type of felt for example, we have structured vinyl, flat vinyl, and different kind.
So sometimes you might use the felt in order to avoid having scratches on the material, depending what product you take. Typically, some gloss vinyl, solid color, you might use the felt in order to prevent any possible scratches.
And one tool it's really important to have with us, it's the cut liner. And we see now in the first exercise how to proceed to use this tool. Okay.
Perfect. And the heat gun, obviously, that you might use also from time to time, but this we're going to see afterwards, because the practical side is going to be a wall installation, what you might do on the day-to-day. Everyone loves wall installation because usually you don't do 1 or 2 square meters. Usually you do massive quantities, so it's quite great to promote the wall installation. But also we're going to do a door with a frame so that you learn how to do doors. Again, everyone has doors, so it makes a lot of sense. And afterwards, we're going to know how to install the product on corners, whether it's a 90 degrees angle corner or a round corner, and where the heat gun is going to be important.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. So, like you say, we have a flat panel. We have 2 holes in the middle. We already repair with the filler. We go to remove and unplug all the parts that make us difficult to install Coala Interior Film on the surface. We go to clean and degrease all the surface and put primer, the solvent-based primer, only on the perimeter, at least 1-2 centimeters.
Because it's a laminated wood, so it's a hard surface.
Yes, because in this case, nothing can absorb, so we can use the solvent base. In the case we have a surface can absorb, we use the water-based primer.
MDF typically will be an absorbing surface where you need a water-based primer, but this obviously is quite easy with the primer puts.
So our film, it's high 1.22 m, the roll. It's important to remove the excess of the film when we proceed to install to help us. And like I say, we have the special cut liner. So we pre-cut behind a piece of liner to help us to install in the correct way and straight Coala Interior Film.
I agree with Stefano. It's really important to prepare correctly when you install. So removing a little bit of the release liner will allow you to place the product straight. I install the product myself, and often, you know, I do a wall installation where I realize that the bottom is missing a bit of film, or maybe the edge is not completely covering the surface, etc., etc. So preparing it right is key.
So in this case, we have a wood effect with a straight line of the grain of the wood. So it's really important if you have a few elements to install properly straight. And with this technique, we can fix only one side, open the other side, and move and adjust Coala Interior Film to be sure we install completely straight the finishes.
And so you will look at the bottom.
Yes. Now,
everything is fine.
Really important to check if we cover all the surface and if we are completely straight.
And if you have enough at the bottom, because that would be a mess to cover the whole wall,
yes.
And 70 and 25% is missing at the bottom. The product is not cheap, so obviously you better not mess it up the first time.
Okay. Now I need to make a little adjust on the direction.
The
Just
adhesive of this
recheck.
product is bubble-free.
Yes.
It's a great advantage because when you're going to install the film, if you were to have a bubble stuck in the middle, you will still be able to chase the bubble out.
So when we check and we are pretty sure the film cover all the surface, we start to install the film. The squeegee need to stay half on liner and film and half only on the exposed adhesive. And we push center to the edge with the same pressure from the center to the edge. So we suggest to use your body and not your arm to squeegee the film.
The goal of this is to try to minimize the tension that you will create in the film. It needs to stay flat. If you start seeing some little tunnels, then the installation will be more and more difficult as you get along.
Now, we need to push up only Coala Interior Film, stick it off the two angle of liner, and take off not too much liner, because if you see, help us to keep the film not stick on the surface and to avoid bubble. But it's important to don't go so close when we install, but take it off over 20 centimeters.
And basically, indeed, if you were to go too close to the release liner, this is where you will create tension. And the tension might seem easy to handle at start, but the more you will get to the bottom of it, the more difficult it's going to get to flat it up on the surface. It looks really easy, it's like a bit wallpaper, but I can guarantee Stefano has more than 10 years experience installing this kind of film, and you can do whatever you want. Practice will definitely help you to feel more and more comfortable with the installation of this product.
So now we have one element. They come out a little bit from the structure. It's important to keep a little bit of tension and keep the extra material on the side and never down, to don't have accumulation of material in the center here. So we proceed to install the film normally. We keep only little bit of tension with our hand, and we go to close completely all.
And here you create tension in order to make it more easy around the plug, right, Stefan?
Exactly, exactly. And also, in this case, we have two metal teeth. They create a little bit of mess when you install. You can also pre-cut this part to help the material to don't have tension. But it's really important to always cut round angle to avoid the possibility to crack the film. Okay.
If you guys have any questions, reminder, you can put all the questions in a writing form in the Q&A. Someone is behind the screen and can answer you anytime.
Now, really important, we can roll up the liner behind and use one hand to unroll the liner and one hand to squeegee the film.
Usually, how much do you leave at the bottom, Stefano?
I usually leave 5 centimeters more from each side to be sure to cover completely the surface. The liner, it's already rolled up. It's important to don't leave on the floor because it's silicone coated paper, so it's very easy to slip on it.
Good call, good call. I know that Andrea, every time he's doing a wall installation like this, he's highlighting, always touch with your hand the whole surface.
Exactly.
Like this, you can see straight away if you left a bubble somewhere.
Now it's time to check and be sure to have installed correctly everywhere Coala Interior Film. If you have any bubble, it's important to don't joke with the bubble, but just push. And if it's too big, to divide in two with your squeegee and push with the finger to release the air in the channel behind the glue. Okay.
There's a bit of a technique to learn, but as it passes by, you get used to it.
Now, we see how to avoid the electric part on the panel. We go to close a little bit more the film and stick little bit more closer, and we start to cut exactly on the metal. It's really important to put a little bit of pressure on the metal part to avoid the possibility to go up and scratch the film where it's visible. So we go inside with the blade, we push a little bit down with the blade to be sure to don't make any type of issues on the installation. Okay. Always check, this is a little tips, the different angle, because in this case we have a straight angle and in the opposite side we have a round angle. So let's be sure to don't cut too much film. The definition part is the most important for the result.
And I think you don't cut too much on the outside in order to avoid to have a little gap somewhere.
Exactly.
So you would more cut in the inside, yes.
Yes.
And then you put back the plug and you see absolutely nothing.
Really important to don't stick too fast, stick it off too fast, but check if you have cut correctly all before to stick it off. Use the hard part of the squeegee to stick Coala Interior Film under the metal part, and the work is done. Now we proceed to cut the side. There is two different types of cut. I want to show you the two difference close up. So you go inside with the blade, and the first cut we do straight on the side. So we keep energy on the right side inside the panel, and we cut with the cutter completely straight. The second cut we proceed to do with a little bit of inclination. So we cut the film, we keep 45 degrees inclination with little bit of pressure on the side of the panel.
The 45 degrees cut is really important to avoid anybody from trying to peel off the film from the edge. We will see this again during the door installation, but here typically we have a piece of wood, so it's important to do a 45 degrees angle.
Yes, because the difference is this one. With the straight cut, we leave exactly till the end the film, but it's also possible to remove it. So
it's possible to remove
it.
Yes.
So try to think if it's clean every day, how much it's possible to have issues under the glue after a few days. The 45 degrees cut, it's really impossible to take it off the Coala Interior Film, and it's durable for 10 years without problem.
And obviously nobody wants to do an installation and have to come back because the film is peeling off on the edge. So obviously by using the 45 degrees angle cut, you will avoid this. So here again on wall, normally you don't have to do it, but on doors, absolutely, it's important to do the 45 degrees.
It's not a problem to retake the cut. If we don't have too much skill, there is also an option to use the sanding paper. We suggest to use 80 degrees grain.
80 grams grain.
Sorry.
And indeed, it's a good idea. If you use the sanding paper, then the sanding paper is going to make it really close to the edge, and like this, nobody is able to peel off the cut. How many square meter can an installer install this product, Stefano, a day?
On flat installation, they can install 60 square meter, 70 square meter without problem.
So 60 square meter a day, someone normal can install. And if I'm not wrong, Stefano and Andrea and yourself can install up to 2 to 3 rolls of film a day on flat, easy installation. Is that about right?
Yes.
So a certified installer will be able to do up to 1 roll and a half, but someone expert in this kind of installation will be able to go 2 to 3 rolls. So it really makes sense. The price per square meter of such an installation when it's easy like this, because it always depends on multiple things, typically how much preparation do you have to do on the surface, what reference are you using, the volume of the installation, etc., and of course the price you sell it for. But usually I would say it's between 50 euro and 120 euro a square meter. For a wall installation. Multiple factor will obviously refine this quotation.
Now we have a little break.
A little
video, and we see
afterwards.
soon.
Thank you, Stefano. Okay, guys, we are back. So don't hesitate again. If you have any questions, technical questions whatsoever, please drop them into the Q&A. So like I said, we started with a flat installation with actually a flat type of wood. And now we're going to do a door installation with actually a structure type of wood. So why do we do wall? Why do we do doors? So doors first is definitely key. So when you become certified for this kind of product, the key is to be able to leave this training session able to do doors, because everyone has doors, and doors is quite expensive. But not only it's expensive, imagine a hotel, there's a hotel in every city in the world, and usually there's a lot of rooms and there's a lot of doors. So it makes sense to pitch installation of doors whenever you go somewhere. A fireproof door typically in a hotel costs between 1,800 to 1,500 euros the door. Usually it's complicated because you have to break the existing doors to replace it. Here basically you have an installer that is coming, and basically in no time he's able to install this. So Stefano jumped straight into it to show you. The start of the installation is typically exactly the same as the wall. So you remove part of the installation and then you go straight away. So Stefano starts installing.
Okay, so the tips for this kind of installation, it's always to have a straight cut on one side to see if we have the straight grain of the wood, to don't have too much material on the metal part and where they create tension and problem to install Coala Interior Film. And we proceed in the same way like the flat wall.
And you can hear, I believe, straight away that this product has a structure. Why
Yes.
would we use a structure on our product? Well, typically, a structure will help you whenever the surface is not 100% even. The structure will help you if you do a wall installation and when you have to do overlaps. Because indeed, if you do a wall installation, we advise not to do butt-to-butt installation, but actually overlap. And basically, when you have a 2-3 centimeters overlap by the structure, you will not see anything on your wall. So it's quite important. The structure is really a great advantage, and also to the touch and feel. The structure will definitely give you a genuine feeling of a piece of wood. So you see how Stefano is working this out. A certified installer is able to install between 10 and 15 doors per day, 2 faces. Stefano and Andrea are able to install up to 20-25 doors a day. So it gives you an idea, because installing a door, usually you would charge between 250 and 350 a door, 2 face. But of course it depends. How many doors, the level of preparation, what reference are you using? Is it a prestigious job, etc., etc.
So, if you see, in a few minutes we install the frontal part of the door. In this case, try to think it's an anti-fire door, where we have the side of the door with untreated wood, so we go to cover only the face. What I suggest is always to cut in the opposite side of the door to be sure to stick perfectly till the end Coala Interior Film, because when we proceed to cut at 45 degrees, if Coala Interior Film it's not stick till the end of the surface, can create some problem. Okay.
So yeah, indeed, it was really, really fast, but the reason why Stefano was fast here is typically it's really similar to the wall installation he just did before, and he wants really to highlight the frame, the edge, the cutting, etc., etc.
Exactly. The definition part is really important. In this case, we go also to show a little part of frame. So it's really important, if you don't need to cover also the frame, to don't keep too much blade out when we proceed to cut, to avoid the possibility to scratch also the frame on the door. It's important when you proceed to cut 45 degrees to have the same angulation for all the cut. So we suggest to don't stop the cut. You can retake only the first part where you go in with the blade. Okay.
When I mentioned the pricing that is being applied, what's important to know is that usually it's installation with a maximum of 20% preparation. If the door, the wall, the furniture you are supposed to install is more than 20%, then definitely you increase the price. Also, usually the Coala Interior Film installers don't have to remove handles, signage, and things like that on the door. They just come and install this. Usually, the basic work like removing the doors, removing the handle is done by someone else. Someone that obviously you can charge cheaper money to install or to at least to do this kind of work.
Okay, in this case, we proceed to avoid before the metal part. Really easy. We proceed to open the film, use the hard part of the squeegee, go till the end to squeegee the film when it's stick off from the metal plate. We can suggest also to use a masking tape to don't have too much adhesion on the metal part.
And you would also use the masking tape on wall installation to avoid piece of film to stick to the paint of a wall, for example.
Yes, there is different technique. We can also pre-cut only 5 centimeters of liner behind. They work in the same way. But if we don't have too much time to, or we don't have the correct tools, we can also use the masking tape. Okay, we avoid this part, and now we proceed in the same way to cut opposite, stick very well the film till the end, and do the definition at 45 degrees. So I just do this part. And like you say, we don't need to do a lot of dust, noise, so we can work with the shop open or with the client. They do the homework without problem. So now we proceed to cut 45.
I think Stefano is really right. And when it comes to installing, everyone can install. Now, everyone is a bit DIY and things like that. But what really makes the difference for a product, it's the finish of installation. You know, the fact that the product is not going to peel off on the edge, the product is not going to, you're going to use the right primer, etc., etc. It's the key is the installation. Like I said at the beginning, you can have the best product in the world. If the installation is not right, it's not going to be good.
And now we see the most important cut. It's the lower part of the door, because try to think every day someone go to clean the room of the hotel and they put a corner under the door. And if we leave only 1 millimeter more, it's really easy to peeling off the film. And one of the key of this work for the installer is never come back on work and lose time.
I agree. If you have to come back, then the impression of the client is not right. And of course, nobody wants to do that. Everyone wants to jump to the next job.
So the installation is done, all the cut is done. Now we proceed to see a little part of frame, because like I say, our film is high 1.22 meters. The door usually it's 80, and we have spare material. And also try to think, if you have a huge project, we can also provide the pre-cut roll. So if you have thousands of doors to do, and you know it's 80, the larger of the door, we can provide already cut roll. And you can also sell the frame to your customer with the spare material and not trash it.
It's an important point. So basically, Coala Interior Film comes in 1.22 meters wide, and the door typically will be 70, 80, 90 centimeters, depending about the European norms. So you will have wastage, but please do not throw away the wastage, because typically here, what Stefano is doing is using side of the width in order to do the frame. And you can also use it for sample purposes. You know, you can use it for, if you decide to make your own piece of wood to showcase the product to your clients, etc., etc. So trust me, you don't throw away a wastage of Coala Interior Film.
Okay, like you say, I changed my squeegee because we need to use the correct tools for the correct installation. In this case, we need to go inside of the element, and we need to have two different types of corner, a round corner, a straight corner. The straight corner help us to cut exactly in the angle and push correctly the film till the end. In this case, we need to leave also a little overlap, we can also use our squeegee-like rules on the Coala Interior Film. Okay. Remember always, in this case, we go to proceed to install the film in the original way of the wood, but what I suggest it's always to ask to the owner how they want the orientation of the grain.
It's a good call, Stefano. I've seen several installations where clients are using the wood grain not vertically on the door, but actually horizontally. And I must admit, it looks really, really nice. So it's also something that you can propose to your client, as it's so easy to install at the end of the day. It's what makes the difference compared to painting a door or simply buying a brand new door. One of the advantages, again, is the fact that buying a door which is made of a color on one side, which would be the interior of your room, and a different color on the outside, which will be basically the hallway of the hotel, typically, it's next to impossible, or it will be really expensive. With Coala Interior Film, you can decide to make one color inside and the other color outside without any problem.
Okay, so I don't know if you see before, but the cut it's 2 or 3 millimeter, little bit more high, and now we proceed to cut corner to corner. So like this, we leave an overlap and a really durable application. Okay. If you see in a few seconds, okay, we cover only a little part, but I want to show you in few minutes how much it's changed this kind of door.
I completely agree with Stefano. Look at this. I mean, it took less than 10 minutes, and basically, potentially, you have a brand new door, which can be trendy, depending on the color you choose. Don't forget that Coala Interior Film is a range of different categories. You can have wood, you can have marble, you can have solid color, you can have metallic, you can have even glitter if you wish, fabric, leather, etc., etc. There's also a new range of soft touch that has been launched beginning of this year, which is ideal against scratches, which is ideal for this silk touch. So it's really a great range, and in no time you have something brand new. Stefano here highlights once again the 45 degrees angle cut, which makes so much sense for door installation. The last thing I think we didn't mention, Stefano, is what do you do on the splice of the door? You know, on the frame, on the side?
Yes.
So usually what we do, I mean, go
yes.
ahead.
So it's important to have a straight cut on the film, because usually we have a paint wall behind. And if we stick cover still on the paint, it's possible when you peel off, also the paint can come with the film.
What I was speaking more, it was the side of the, so I'm just jumping here inside.
Sorry.
So this part.
Okay, so usually on hotel room, hotel situation, we have untreated wood on the side, so we need, it's the inspection part of the door, and we proceed or to paint or to leave without color.
Usually that's what we do. So the big advantage of using a paint, I mean, some clients will tell you, no, it's fine, just leave it as it is. But some clients will tell you, I would like a color which is similar to the product you've been using on the side. So basically here you can paint it. The advantage of paint is that it's fast. And the second advantage of paint is that it's gonna, once installed on the edge, it's also gonna seal the edge of the product. So basically if someone tries to remove the film, once again, it's sealed with the paint, and like this, it's a longer duration installation.
Okay. I launch another little video, and we see soon.
Okay, guys, we're back on track. So here, what we're going to highlight is the installation on corners. You're going to have a 90 degrees corner and a round corner afterwards, where you have to use the heat gun. Before that, I propose we do a little game. So this is a MDF wood. So the first client who is going to answer right in the Q&A which primer to use. So you have the primer or the primer plus. And to the first one to answer that, he will get a free Coala Interior Film binder. So I leave you do that, and Stefano jump straight into the installation.
Okay, welcome back. Now we see how to proceed to do a straight angle with the cut. So in this case, we have a low energy surface, so we don't suggest to do the thermoforming, but we can proceed to install Coala Interior Film on the surface, push little bit on the first part of the corner to mark and see exactly where we need to proceed to cut. And we cut 45 degrees in the middle and split into different parts the film. Now, we roll up one on top. We use the three-step technique to turn correctly the corner, because it's the most dangerous part. So we push on the top, we push on the angle, we push on the side. Like this, you see the Coala Interior Film, it's already round to the side. I
think if you were to do a lot of table installation like this, Stefano, at the end of the day, your finger is going to hurt. So yes. Do not hesitate to use gloves. That can definitely help you to go through the whole installation.
Okay, we proceed to cut little bit the extra material on the side to have a nice properly definition, and we cut a straight line, and we use our finger to follow the straight side of the corner. We peel off the other side, and we use the three-step technique to turn the film.
So here it's only a table with a 90 degrees angle, but basically the technique can be applied on a lot of different things. Imagine a shelf, a wardrobe or whatsoever. It's going to be quite similar at the end of the day, whether it's inside or outside.
And now we proceed. We have another little triangle. We proceed, I suggest to turn the film to see exactly where we need to proceed to cut. And we cut 1 millimeter more inside Coala Interior Film. Always to have a durable situation for 10 years.
Could you potentially, in order to avoid doing a cut here, stretch the film with a heat gun also for this kind of installation?
Yes, but you need to have a lot of skill because it's low adhesion surface. So,
and also because the corner is quite sharp?
Yes.
Yes. And finally, regarding this kind of corner, Stefano and Andrea are always telling me we prefer to do it this way. It's more durable and it's easier at the end of the day, because don't forget that when you were to stretch the product in order to provide a second skin to the surface, the issue you might have is the fact that you will create tension. So imagine, for example, a table which is 2 or 3 meters long, then you put pressure or tension on one edge, but you need to cover the 2 meters that are on the back. So sometimes the cut is definitely much easier and faster.
So I use the same technique of the wall installation and the door installation. I just cut behind a little stripe on the liner. I fix the film, so I want to show you how this works. If you keep a little bit of tension on the two sides, it's really easy to move and choose where we need to proceed to install Coala Interior Film. When we see we have enough material to cover all the structure, we need only to fix this point.
It's funny because you use again here the fact that you remove part of the liner in order to fix it to the right way. So again, Stefano highlights the fact that the preparation is key. So sometimes take a coffee, sit down, analyze the situation, and only when you are sure, start doing it. It will be a mess to do a first bad installation.
Okay. Now, what is really important when we proceed to do the thermoforming is to have enough film to distribute the tension on it. and never hit only a little part, but always a little bit more. Okay, so turn on your...
There might be a bit of noise, I believe, because we use the heat gun.
Yes.
You need to be a bit more advanced to use the heat gun. Don't be afraid. I know that a lot of people that use this product are always afraid to use the heat gun to burn the material, etc., etc. Trust us, it's not the case. Obviously, do not stand with more than 200 degrees for 15 minutes on the same spot, but you have to place with a wave of heat onto the film, and then it will be like it will become flexible, and then afterwards you can really make the product take any shape.
So we preset 20 degrees on the heat gun. We need to wait some seconds. Yes, 200, sorry. We need to wait some seconds. They go in the temperature, and we proceed to heat and install the film. It's really important when we proceed to heat the film to feel in our end the material, it's really soft.
And again, here I love the way Stefano is doing it, because you see he's not stressed. He's really taking his time, you know, warming it up slowly, and then after he sees the product become flexible, and normally when he feels it's the right moment, he's going to put the pressure into the film, the tension into the film to take the shape. So often people are stressed in this installation, but you should not be. I think here Stefano is really showing it well. And also in the worst case scenario, let's say for example, Stefano, crinkle a little bit the film. Let's say you do bad the corner here.
Okay, for example,
voilà.
I push wrong the film.
Let it dry. So look now what he's going to do.
So now it's just to take it off, hit little bit the film, and the film have a special memory inside. They make it back in the original state.
And then you start again your installation.
Yes.
So nothing you will do will be really bad at the end of the day.
No.
So just try, and you will see it's quite fun. I love to say that using Coala Interior Film becomes like an addiction, because you install one door, you want to do 10 more. You install one wall, you want to do the rest of the house. So it's really fun to work with.
So it's fun because 1 week ago I go to the customer to do a little part of the kitchen, and after 2 days they call us back to say, okay, I need to cover all the kitchen because it's huge.
Good call, Stefano. So again, if you were, for example, to do a reception desk in a hotel, I believe that it's not the last job you will do for that hotel. Usually they call you again. So that's again a great advantage with Coala Interior Film.
So now if you see, we turn Coala Interior Film on the side with the heat gun without push and tension the film, but only to adjust in the correct way. Now we proceed to heat a little bit the back, and we use our squeegee to close at least 1 centimeter on the back.
So you do, it's 1 or 2 centimeters usually, and the more you will push it back inside, the more adhesion you will have. Some clients also, what they do is to overlap the actual overlap. They will put an extra piece of film at the bottom again to make sure that it's tight in the long run. You don't have to do that, but it's again to have a longer duration of your installation.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, what I suggest is that when the first centimeter it's thick, stick the extra material on the back of the table, because now we proceed to do a definition cut and we follow the side of the structure to have a properly nice definition. Okay. So we take our cutter, little bit more blade out to help us to move a little bit. Never do with the carbon blade because it's really easy to scratch.
Usually you use stainless steel blades,
yes,
so that you don't damage the surface and things like that.
And we preset the blade on the back, and with the finger we follow the side.
It will keep basically your line straight from A to Z. It's a good tip to learn. It makes the difference, I agree.
Okay, and now we proceed to remove the excess of the film.
So So here, what Stefano is doing, and he doesn't want you to see it, is that he didn't cut the blade before, so the blade was not sharp enough. Now he's cutting it again. So again, it's a good call. Always change the blade when you do an installation in order to have a perfect finish.
Yes, the sharp blade, it's really important to have a nice definition. Okay, just I want to show the result. So
maybe you don't see it so well, and we don't want to zoom too much because otherwise it's going to be pixelized. Nevertheless, you see that it's a perfect overlap and the installation is perfect. So you see basically that the second skin of tables or desks or reception or whatsoever can be done in no time with our product.
Okay. The demonstration is finished now.
Okay, so what we do now is that we sit back where the marketing material was and basically shoot any questions you want. Audran will tell us if we have a winner for the binder, if someone found out what primer to use. So we're going to go back basically sitting now, and if you have any questions, it's your call. We still have 5 minutes. So everything was clear, I believe. So what more information can we provide for this product? So once again, don't forget the great marketing material, because in Europe, I believe this product is not that known. So you need just to jump into the train at the right time, because it's becoming more and more popular. In Asia, we have the information that this is replacing traditional renovation, painting, replacing new, etc., etc. So it's quite trendy. Just imagine if someone you know has to renovate, I don't know, a kitchen, a wall, or a door. With the current COVID situation, yeah, we didn't wear the mask actually today because we did the test yesterday, so we are fine, so don't you worry. And if we wear the mask, it's difficult to understand what we say. But in the current COVID situation, people stay at home more often, so they want to see something changing. You know, you can leave in the morning to your work, and you come back in the evening, and a Coala Interior Film installer would have replaced your kitchen brand new. It's cheap, it's fast, it's trendy because of the multiple colors that are available. So we hope you guys enjoy this session. Contact your Antalis sales rep for more information. I think there is a recorded version that's going to be passed out. So if you have, again, more information that you require, don't hesitate. I really like, again, the sampling service which is offered to you. It's quite unique. So don't hesitate. Any questions, you let us know. And if there's no question, we were really happy to spend this morning with you guys. And take care.
There is one question now.
Oh.
Can you put foils on spaces that already have foil, or do you have to remove the foil?
It's a really good question. So I think this question should deserve the free binder from Coala Interior Film. Well, to answer the question before, the surface to cover was actually the primer water-based, because it was a MDF, so it was soaking up the primer. So it was the right answer. And to answer your question, yes, on a wall installation, you could reinstall on top of Coala Interior Film. I think you could do like 2 or 3 layers. 3 layers maximum. And of course, you need to be careful. You're not going to use on a structure wood or on a leather, which have a deep structure, a solid color, for example. That would make no sense, because you will see with the solid color and things like that. So it's wise to think when you do the installation. We advise structure material. It's always better. But reinstalling structure on a reinstalling non-structured on a structure material would not make any sense.
And just last things, we don't speak about reparation. So you need to come here in our training center to see all the tips and tricks, because it's amazing, this work.
There's a lot of tips and tricks to know here. That was really brief, and we went through just few things. Those are the basics, and we like to call it, but Antalis proposed this training session, which is held in Luxembourg, and I believe some locally will be done in Scandinavia. So further questions, shoot us an email, and we'll be glad to help you out. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day. Take care.
Thank you very much, Michael, and thank you very much, Michael and Stefano, for a well-performed demo. På denna demo. Ni kommer nästa vecka bli kontaktade av någon ifrån Antalis. Och om ni redan nu har ett kundprojekt som ni jobbar med, ta kontakt med er Antalis-person på en gång, så ska vi absolut se till så att vi gör en bra lösning på det. Så med detta så önskar Antalis att ni får en bra fortsättning på dagen. Att demonstrationen var till nytta. Och att vi i framtiden kommer att finna projekt som innehåller mer och mer inredningsfolier. För det är både enkelt och fint att jobba med. Så tack för nu. Ha en god fortsättning. Hoppas vi hörs snart igen. Hej hej!